Okay, so we are going to be covering kind of a basic how to use the Voces editor. Um, I feel like the editor is one of the coolest and most unique parts of our platform. Everything you see is completely customizable. Um, it is also can be kind of like the highest skill ceiling part of Voces. So I always tell everyone to start small. Um, Change small things here and there, mostly just get acquainted with it before you try and do anything really crazy. Um, and of course, if you break anything, we'll fix it. It's okay. Don't stress. You can always get back to the original pages. And we do have a YouTube playlist of how to use our editor. We've recently updated the interface of it, so the actual visuals might look a little outdated, but the process once you get into editing the page is still the same. So those videos can still be really useful. And obviously, if you're trying to work on something and you have questions, feel free to email us at info@vocesdigital.com or call us. You guys are probably starting to accumulate some of our personal emails too. So just reach out. We're always accessible and ready to help, and we can help you fix it and get it back to the original page if something got messed up. So that being said, some of the things we can do in the editor um, can add a new activity, like a brand new page entirely from scratch, or you can edit an existing activity. So if there's certain verbiage on there you want to change, or you want to add or remove some questions or add an image or anything, you can do that. You can change the grading type from points to rubric or from rubric to points if you want to just change how it's graded. You can adjust the point values of the questions on the page and more. Again, anything you see on Voces, you can do. Within the editor, you have all of the tools that our curriculum managers have that they use to create the content in the first place. So it really is the sky is the limit on this stuff. So we have a variety of different activity types that you can create in the editor. We have a multiple choice or survey, long answer, short answer, fill in the blank, and there's a few different options with that. You can do like a whole sentence or a whole paragraph or a paragraph with multiple fill in the blanks throughout it. You can do a graphic organizer, matching or sorting, pre-formatted like email or blog. Speaking prompts, any type of recording question, you can have like an audio prompt where they respond to you. You can have them read something out and then record their voice. Um, and then our newest activity type is the interactive video activity. And that you can embed a video within the page and then create timestamps along that video. And so when it hits that timestamp, it's going to pause the student's video, pop up with a question, and those questions you can do multiple choice, fill in the blank, a variety of different ones. And then they'll have to respond to that question, hit continue, and it'll continue playing along the video. And you can add pictures, audio, videos, Google Slides, really anything that you can think of, you can add to a page within Voces. So to edit a page, first thing we're going to do is we're going to hover over the teachers panel and click on the editor button. And that's going to come up with the directory of the title that you're in. I'm actually going to, too far. Hop over here. I'm going to spend a little time going back and forth on here. So we'll go over the teachers panel and click on editor. And this is what we're going to see. I'm in Nuestra Historia 1 right now. So we just see the entire directory. When you click on a unit, it's going to open up and you can see section options and page options. Within that drop down, you have a bunch of different options to do. You can, on section options, you can add a page, which is going to add a page at the bottom of this whole section. You can add a subsection, which is going to create like a new section within that one. You can rename it, which will just have you change the name. Making something teacher only, that's going to hide this on the student's view. So anything with this red apple, they're just not going to see it in their menu at all. Disable is going to remove it from the menu as well, and then share, we'll cover that later. But so to edit, what you're going to do is find a page. So for example, I'll go to this first story in Unit 1. You click Page Options, and you can go to Edit Page Contents. That's going to bring you up here, and this is the interface you're going to see when you're actually editing the page. The first thing it's going to have you do is come up with a new name for it. So by default, the naming scheme we use is just the existing name with copy at the end. You can change that if you want. You can say like new version, and this is going to add this page into your Manage My Pages section. So you'll always have access to it, even if you don't end up using it right away. And because what this is doing is actually copying the existing page and creating a duplicate for you to edit. So again, I'll click Page Options, Edit Page Contents. Once you're happy with the name, it'll bring you right into it. And we can see this entire page cut up into different sections. And the section types you can see if you click Create a New Block and click Block Type. These are all the variety of sections you can create. These are different activity types. A content-only block is self-explanatory. It's just for content. You can add videos, images, text, anything you really want. And then the rest of these are various activity types we have. But if you want to edit an existing section, you can scroll through on the left to see the view. So I'll go down and I can see, the story right here. If you wanted to add some extra to that story, you would find that content block right here, click Add Edit Content, and then click Edit. And it's just going to pop it up in this little editor. You can change any of the wording. You can add, remove, re-record things if you want. It really is, you can do anything in here. I'll probably end up saying that over and over and over again throughout this presentation. But for example, on this page, if you want to see that question there. Yeah, the interactive video activity was kind of based around the idea of Edpuzzle, but we wanted something specific to Voces. So yes. So let's look at this page, for example, Activity 1 in Story 1. I'll go find that in the editor. Click on Page Options, Edit Page Contents, create a name, and we can see we have the story up top, and then this next content block is of the multiple choice questions. So if you wanted to add an extra question, you can just click Add/Edit, and it's going to show you the existing ones, and you can click Create a New Question. Type your question here, and then you just have to fill out the answers. So you could do one in as the right answer, one in as the wrong answer. You select which one is right. You can have an option to auto grade it. This is going to make it so when the student completes it, you don't have to go through and manually grade it. And you can always add more if you want it to be, 4 answers or 5. And then when you're done, you just click Add Question. So I can see now on the left, I have a new question, number 8. Type your question here. When you save the page and close the editor, it'll then have you save it up at the top here. Once that's done, you can reload your page, and not reload your page. You'll have to go into the menu and navigate to that page again. And now this is my custom page. You can see the question I just created right down here. And that's pretty much it. It's going to look different depending on the section type you're editing. Some of them might be in one single block. Other ones might be separated out like we were just looking at.
Hey, Neil, can you show rearranging the questions?
Yes, I can. Let's go back into that one I was just working on, Activity 1. So if you want to rearrange the questions, you just click Add Edit Questions, and you see the cursor changes into these little 4 arrows. You can just drag them, move them around, make my new question the first one. When you're done, you just close out and save. and that's going to rearrange all those. So now I can see my custom question I just made is right up here at the top. You can also randomize it. So if you, instead of clicking add/edit questions, see that, Jill, will it change automatically for all classes? Yes, as any class that has access to this title, once you're done editing, it's going to update it across the board.
Unless they have already completed it.
I was going to say that, but yes, unless they already did it. So it's not recommended to edit existing assigned pages because, like I said, it's going to create a copy of it and hide that old one, but it still exists there in the background. So if you do want to edit a page, I recommend just making sure it's not assigned, or if it is, you can disable it, delete it, and then edit it and reassign it from there. So instead of clicking add/edit questions, if you click edit block, it's going to come up with the section specific settings. So for this, we have an option to, you can change the directions here. And you can also randomize it. So this is going to shuffle those questions every time a student loads the page. You can also set a question limit. So if you want a test to be like very randomized per student, you could create 30 questions and set a question limit of 10 and then randomize the block. And now no student's going to get the same test, or it's very unlikely that they would get the same test. You can adjust. Yes, Rebecca, it does. You can adjust the point value per question. So by default in Voces, everything is worth 1 point for the most part. Each question, whether it's fill in the blank or recording or multiple choice, true or false, you can adjust that within here. So if I wanted, if it's a higher point test or exam, you wanted each question to be worth more points, you would just set that here, and that would apply it to that section specifically. So if I have 2 different blocks of multiple choice questions, you could have one of them with 2 point value per question and the other one with just 1. You also have an option to change the style, and this again depends on the block type that you're editing. But these are good to kind of go through and look and view it from the student side to see what changes each time you do that. So went over some of this already, but some simple editing examples that you can do within Voces is editing and adding questions to an activity. You can modify the text or an audio in a story or lesson. You can add content to the page, text, audio, pictures, videos. Again, anything you can think of, you can add it. You can change the grading type and edit/add rubrics. That would be, so when you first go in to edit a page, if you click edit page title, that's going to have the grading style right here. So if something's graded by points and you want it to be graded by a rubric instead, you just click that drop down and move it down there. It's going to come up with this blank rubric. We have a lot of rubric templates included within the title. So any page that has a rubric on it, that rubric is a template. But so you can select one of these existing templates and click apply, and it's going to fill that rubric up. Or you can create a new one. You can make it all custom, and then when you are done customizing your own new rubric, you can click Save Custom Template and enter a name for it. And then that's going to show up in that drop down. So once you create it one time, you can use it multiple times through new activities as you're creating them. So to add a brand new page, what you'll want to do is find the top section where you want to add the page. So if I want to add a page to the bottom of Unit 1, the bottom of this list, I would click on this section option. Otherwise, let's say I want to put it in this first story here. You can open that section, click section options, and click on add a page. Once you do that, it's going to come up with this pop-up. You'll be able to start with a blank page or add an existing unused page. This I thought might garner some questions, but to make it simple, anytime you create a page, it's saving the old one, creating a new one. And if you ever are creating custom pages, but then don't end up using them, you revert back to the original one, you can click here, and this is any page that I have created in New Estra Historia 1. And these all show up in the Manage My Pages section. This is kind of where you can see everything that you've worked on. So again, we'll go to add a page, but let's say I want to start with a blank page. First, we'll type in the name of the page. This is what it's going to show up as in the editor once you're done. And just click Start with a blank page. And that's going to take you to this same view that we were seeing before, but it's all blank because it's brand new. So we'll type in a page identifier. We can select a template. I'm going to leave it as blank page, standard activity, grading style points, and create the page. And it's created now. It doesn't have anything on it. It's completely blank. But if I save this page, I'll be able to see it right down here. And by default, I'll mention when you're creating a custom page, it will show up as teacher only. That's to enable you to kind of work on it and get it all polished up before making it available for your students to see. So once you're ready to start working on it, you'll click Create a new block. You'll select the block type. And from there, you'll just continue on. Each block has a different different options. It might show up and have you do directions. It might, if it's content only, it's just a blank block. And this is where it can start to get maybe a little overwhelming to some because there's so much here. But I would just, like I said earlier, start small. If you wanted to, do a content only block with some instructions and some material and then a multiple choice after that, you could do that. Okay, so covered that. So here's a list of some things you can do within the editor. You can turn sections and pages on and off, and that's just when you go into the page options or section options, you'll just click this disable or make teacher only, however you want to do it. Make teacher only is going to allow you to still have access to it and edit it. And just for more information, a teacher only page, if you edit it or if you assign it, it will show up for students. So you don't have to manually come in here and make things available to students. Like the IPAs, for example, those sections are teacher only, and that's just to prevent students from being able to see them before you want them to see them. So if I assign this interpretive reading to students, I don't have to change this and remove teacher only. That's going to show up in their menu once it's assigned. You can move sections and pages within the directory so that if we look at these little 4 arrows next to all your pages and sections, you just drag those, move them wherever you want to put them. And once you save it, that's going to save it to the actual menu within the title. And you can do that with individual pages. You can do that with sections. You could do that with the units if you want. Just looking at the questions real quick.
All right, I was just typing an answer to Jill, but it'll be easier if I say it out loud.
Okay.
Yes, you can embed anything that that generates an embed code. You can drop that in a copy block. So Google Slides, YouTube videos. There's some other game sites. I want to say Edpuzzle is one that has an embed. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything you load up on Google is easy to embed. And I'll set up something on my screen so that I can show everybody how to do that a little bit later in this hour.
Okay. Yeah, if you're ever on a website it has a button where you can click share and it shows you this long list of code that all kind of seems like gibberish. That's HTML and that's what our editor runs off of. So you can just drop that code directly into a content block and it should just show up, whether it's like an embedded, like Chris was saying, Google Slides or Edpuzzle or YouTube, Vimeo, anything like that. So we already talked about renaming pages. I'll cover it again real quick though. We can just, any section or page you see, you'll just click on the options and go down to rename. And then create and adding pages. So we can go over listening and recording activities. So let's find one. Can do the IPA, interpersonal speaking. So we have a listening and recording activity here. Let's say you wanted to add a couple of questions here. We'll just, again, find that section name. That's section 4. It's the second one down, so I can see it right here. Click add/edit questions. So from here, you can listen to the existing ones. You can edit them and re-record them if you want. Or if you want to do a new question, you'll click create a new question. And then it'll have you put in the question or prompt. Here, you can type something out like state your name and the school you go to, or you can click this small button right here that says record audio, and that's going to prompt you to start recording. Anything you say will be recorded, and then when you're done, you can just click add question, and it's going to show up as one of these audio blocks here. And since we're within a recording activity section type, it will automatically put like the record and stop buttons for the student side. Yeah, and this, I'm gonna press this point again. All of the tools available to you are the same tools available to our curriculum developers that are making this stuff in the first place. So if you see it, you can make it. It just takes a little bit of time learning the editor and playing around with it. I always recommend just using it. And if you want to try and create something custom, do it. If you break it, that's great. It keeps me busy. Shoot me an email. It'll keep me in work. So let's talk about this real quick. This is like one of the less used but pretty cool options for creating custom pages. You can actually embed games, specifically matching games and flashcard games from the game center. So matching and flashcard challenge, let's just start fresh. We'll go right to the editor. I'm going to add this just to the bottom of unit 1. I'll click on section options and add a page. Give it a name, matching game, and we'll start with a blank page. Once we're in here, I'll give it an identifier. And then what we want to do here is instead of type standard activity, we want to click on that and change it to embedded game. Then click create page. After that, we'll click create a new block. And this drop down is going to be different now. We can see in this embedded game, we can create only a handful of different block types. Content only, photo capture, vocabulary list, can do statements. But what we're really looking for here is the match game and the flashcard challenge game. If you click on one of those, we'll have a spot to type out directions, and you can change the point value per game that's played. So if you're just putting one game in, you want it to be worth 10 points, you can do that. Click create block. Now we can see our blank section over here. The way this works is each question that you're adding is an embedded matching game. So if I click add/edit questions and create a new question, it's going to have you add match game. You'll select your set, which usually you can do the current chapter or all previous chapters. Right now, if I click current chapter, it's going to use vocabulary that's within unit 1. If I select all previous chapters, it's going to use vocabulary from unit 1 because I'm in unit 1. But let's say you're in unit 6, you can select all previous chapters and it's going to use that vocabulary list all the way from unit 1 through 6. But you can also make not test sets, you can make custom vocabulary sets within the game center in those 2 games. And once you do, they're going to show up here in this drop down. So if you want to make a super custom matching game, you go into the game center, open up the Voces matching game, create your big custom set, and then come in here and you can embed it on a page. For now, I'm going to click current chapter, and you can select a 3x3, 4x4, or 5x5 game. I'll just do a 5x5 for fun. Click add game. And now we're done here. This is going, once I save this and go to this page, we're going to see a matching game here. If you want to add more, you can add more. You could do a couple different ones using different sets if you want to. But so for now, I'm going to save it, close it, and then always remember after you're back here, we have this big, it shows up big at the top if you're scrolled down the page, but you always need to hit this save button if it's red. Once you get that confirmation, we'll exit out, reload the page, and if I navigate over to Unit 1, you can see it all the way at the bottom, matching game. That's the new page I just created. And this is what the students will see. They'll have this screen where it says start game, and once you start, we can see my 5x5 matching game. We'll click it and click the answer, and they can go through and play the matching game. And this is cool because within the Game Center, you can't assign games, but when you embed a game onto a page, you can assign that. So we could now assign this. I already gave it a point value, and it'll show up in the students' assignments with all the other options available, due date, multiple submissions, that kind of stuff. So again, to embed a game, we'll click on the type and change it to embedded game. And then next, we'll create a new block, pick your match game or your flashcard challenge game, add a question, select your set and how many cards you want, and that's it. So before I move on to the sharing library, I do want to show.
I can jump in at any point with the
embed.
Yeah, the embed from Google.
Okay. Well, I was going to go over the video activity first because that's
go for it.
Another slightly more unique situation. So first, I'm going to navigate to an existing video activity just to kind of show you guys what it looks like. So right here, we can see anytime you see a video like this where you can't click on it and it has this little like custom progress bar underneath. This is one of our new interactive video activities. I say new, but how long has it been out? A year? Something like that?
Yeah, we rolled it out last summer, but it's just being added into a lot of the titles. So
on this progress bar, we can see the little black lines. Those are the timestamps where there's a question that's going to pop up. Students cannot fast forward or rewind. They can only pause and play right from here. They can adjust the volume and the speed. So this little snap point about 2/3 of the way up is the default speed. So they can speed it up a little bit and slow it down. And then if the video has closed captions on Vimeo, they'll have access to turn it on here. Not all videos will have closed captions. That's something we are working on to add through our accessibility updates. So let's say I want to edit this existing activity. Going to go to the teachers panel, go right back into the editor, and I'm going to navigate to where that page was. So Unit 1, extra, interviews, and it was this first one here. So I'll click Edit Page Contents, either give it a name or accept that default naming scheme. And then we're almost used to this now. We can see all of our sections split up on the left side of the screen. And what you'll do is you'll find the one with the actual video activity in it. So section 1, click Add Edit Content. Wait, is that not the actual video activity?
No, this isn't the.
This isn't the right page.
Think you've
it's
got
right down here. Okay, let's try again.
You can avoid that confusion by clicking on the Manage Page button at the bottom of any page, and that will highlight the page that you're looking at and go right to it.
Forget about that button. So right here, this is what Chris was just talking about. If you're on a page and you just want to get right there, click Manage My Page. It'll take you there, and then you won't make the mistake I just made.
Which he only made to highlight the
exactly.
usefulness of that button.
It's the grandmaster plan.
We choreographed that beforehand.
All right, so click on that page options, click edit page contents, solidarity. I like it. So now we can see section 1. This is our interactive video activity. It's going to list out the timestamp questions underneath, just so you can kind of have an idea of it. So we'll click add edit questions, has all of our questions here on the right. If you want to make a new question, you'll click create a new question and then select the type. So these are the options we have for questions that show up within a pop-up on the interactive video activity. So content only, that's not actually going to be a question or have any point value. You could just have it pop up with an explanation of what just happened in the video, or just a thinking point for the students to read.
Technically, you could put another video in there that they have to watch while they're watching the first video.
Maybe we should make it so you can add another interactive video activity within.
No, we shouldn't.
So you can do a multiple choice, text with inline entry, student recording. I think this is one of the coolest ways to use it, because you could have a video where someone's talking in the video and you can pause it, have the student reply with a recording. You can do full width text entry, small text before a question, long text entry. So I'll just do a text with inline entry, add the question type. You can type out your question here. And then you'll have an option to auto grade it and add an answer, or you can leave it manually graded and just suggest an answer.
I have a question. I love, by the way, thank you for the mistake, because you know what? That helps us to see through. No. I think it's a very good one. Because we are all, I'm sure I'm going to make the mistake before I get the hang of it. So I have a question. These games that we are modifying are found on the extra of every unit, starting in the, not the early elementary, but like, where do you find these games that you are?
So these specifically, these interactive video activities, they're just an activity type that's strewn about the curriculum as a whole. It was primarily used in our elementary Spanish curriculum when it was first made.
Yeah, that's what we developed it for.
It is slowly getting rolled out to everything. I'm not 100% sure how many are in the titles.
No, it's okay. I don't need to know how many, but if I need to know if I can find them in Nuestra Historia 1 and stuff like that.
The interviews, I believe in Nuestra Historia 1, all of the interviews, so extra, and then entrevistas, you'll see the video interactivo, which is also something you could search for in the search tool. If you go into tools,
we'll go into tools. Yeah, so if you go to the tools and then search, you can enter in any search term, and it's going to show you anything within that, with including that search term within the title you're in.
But and the same with the games, the match games, the same, you do games.
So there are no existing embedded games in the title. You add that, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so this just looking here, we can see that there are 19 of them in Nuestra Historia 2 and 13 in Nuestra Historia 3 so far.
Okay, good. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So let's pop back in there. So I'm going to create a new question on this video activity. We'll do text with inline entry is what I was working on. The question text will go here. And then, like I was saying, you can have it auto graded with a definitive answer. So if it's like a simple fill in the blank, what is the word for this? You can auto grade that. If it's something that's going to be a potentially different answer per student, you just leave that unchecked, type in a suggested answer here. And then what you need to do on these video activity questions is select a timestamp. So we can see we have one at 5 seconds, 9 seconds, 14 seconds, and 32 seconds. You just find the spot in the video, which you can play right here. you can find the spot where you want to embed this question. So I'm just for testing purposes, I'm going to put it right at 2 seconds. So it's before everything else, and add the question. So now we can see that right down here, show at 2 seconds. If I save the page, close the editor, save my new menu up here, and then we'll navigate back to this page to refresh and navigate back to the page.
Yeah, I need to fix that.
So now we'll go to that video or interactive video I was just working on. And now we can see there's a new little timestamp there right at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to click play. When it gets to that 2 second mark, now I can see my new question. That question text with the suggested answer. Students will have an option to replay the last segment. They can just do that over and over again until they're ready to answer the question, or when they're done, they'll hit continue. It's going to automatically play through to the next one. So now we can see there's a multiple choice. We can select our answer here and then play through to the next one, and so on and so forth. So I did see Sandra say, or a more challenging version to my higher proficiency students. Yeah, you could make certain video activities much more complicated. It could even include the same video, but just have a different level of questions.
And that's where the new duplicate button really helps, is with that differentiation.
Yeah.
So if you've got an activity that you want to make a different version for your higher proficiency students, instead of just editing it, you can hit page options and then duplicate. And now you've got another version that you can rename and make changes to. So you've got the original and then all of the new ones.
So then, yeah, you could, it's going to, including any edits I had already made to that page, that's now going to be included on here. Like we can see my new question I just added down there. And you could delete everything, start fresh, change the questions up, make them, turn them into recording questions, or like just more challenging questions. And then when you save it and reload the page, we will see now I have both of those here. Okay, so I don't want to go to the sharing library yet. Chris, do you want to?
Yep, I will share my screen and show this real quick. Oh, why can't I find Zoom now? Share screen. Share. All right, that should be showing up now. So if I want to edit this page, I will go in here and manage. And I'm going to create a content block, but you can do this in really in anywhere. So you could do it as the instructions to a section as well. So now we've got that, and I'm going to go over to here. And so this is just Google Slides, and this is the same spot it is for any of the Google products. I go into Share, Publish to Web, and then there's Embed here. And embed is always the kind of keyword you're looking for. And then we click Publish. They ask me if I'm sure. And then this code here, we want to just copy it, come over here and paste it. Now I'll click Add Block and save. Close that, save that, close that. And now if we refresh this page, now we have a Google slide embedded right inside of Voces. And I don't see chat anymore. So Jill, did that answer your question?
Chris, you are the king. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Every time I have one of these, I learn something new. I wish you could see me. My mouth just dropped. Like, oh my God. That. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Cool. All right, let me go back to sharing, and we're going to talk a little bit about the new sharing library. So anything Chris has just been working on this for a while and added it and revamped it, and it's very cool, and it's a cool option for teachers to be sharing all of their custom curriculum that they're making and their pages and activities that they're working on. So to share pages you edited or created, first we'll go to either a page option or a section option drop down and just click on that share button that you see. That's going to pop up with a little window. It's going to have you type in a title and a description. And then you're going to have an option to do a private share or leave it unchecked, and that'll make it available to anyone using Voces. They'll be able to see it in that sharing library. And you can, like I mentioned, you can share either a singular page or an entire section. So if I came into here in the editor, go into Unit 1, and let's go to my matching game. I can click share, pop up with this this window, give it a title, a 25 character minimum description. Hopefully that's enough. Once you click share this content, it's going to give you a confirmation. Say shared content can be managed from the sharing library. And then you can exit out of here and go to the teachers panel down to the sharing library. And my shared content is where you're going to see stuff that you've shared. So I can see Neal's matching game. You can preview it, edit it, stop sharing it if you want. The direct share ID, you can copy this and send it to people, and they'll be able to paste it right in here, and it'll import that page right to them. So then you click preview, I can see it, Neal's matching game. And if you click use this content, and this is something you can do on any of these. So you can see Sandy Lewis created some custom stuff here. You can preview it by clicking the page on the left here. She's really good at using the editor. And when you're ready, you can click use this content, and it's going to have you decide where to put it within the menu. So you can go here, we can add it to Unit 1, and then it's going to show you all the sections within Unit 1. So if I want to add it to the extra section, and then we can add it further or just leave it within the extra section. I'll click copy to my account. Once you get that confirmation, you can exit out, reload the page. And now if I go into that Unit 1 extra, we can see this new custom page that Sandy made. So this is a good way to utilize other teachers' pages that they've worked on, but also share stuff with colleagues, with friends, with teachers across the country.
And something I had mentioned in the opening was that you can share it with yourself. So yeah. If Neal created a page in, we'll just say a video activity in New Historia 1 and decided, you know what, it works well for his New Historia 2 students as well, he can share that page with himself. There's not a way to search, there's a way to sort. And then there's also direct ID. So we see that his direct share ID is 1435 there. So if he goes back over to the sharing library, puts in 1435 and hits preview, he now has that game and he can use this content.
And if I wanted to put it at the same spot as the other one, just within, I think it was just within Unit 1, click copy to my account, and an error has occurred.
You know, every time we're doing one of these, and Neal, close the console. They don't need to see that. every time we're doing one of these, I hold my breath every time I'm watching somebody click something, because inevitably there's something that we're going to find. So we will fix that shortly, but you can, if you look at the include pages from first drop down, that's where you can change which title. So you don't have to only share with your current one, you can share across other ones. And then for sorting is that next drop down. So there's most shared, rating, and that rating is that pop-up that keeps coming up when Neal opens it that he's just ignoring. That's asking you to review the page that you used from somebody else so that it has those stars, so that we can start kind of building I guess a bit of a natural filter where the stuff that is used the most and that everybody likes is at the top.
Think. Yeah, so like Chris was saying, you can find custom content that's been shared across everything, across all of Voces. If I click there, this is everything that's been shared so far since this has been implemented. It's just a very cool feature that hopefully eventually turns into a large library of content that anyone can use and share amongst each other. Cool. Well, that is kind of about the end of this. We have a lot of training options. Just so everyone knows, there's free virtual training that you can set up with us at any time. If you go to our homepage and click training and click schedule a meeting, any tech support issues, for sure schedule something here, but you can also just do Voces support or personal walkthrough if you're looking for kind of a individual 20-30 minute meeting that goes a little more in depth than stuff, whether it's getting your classes situated, if you want to talk more about the editor and kind of play around with it and get some feedback. But there's also paid virtual training that you can get to from that same training page. If you scroll down a little bit, that would be more for like targeted training for groups. And as always, email us, call us, email me. I'm going to put my email in the chat, as well as a link to this slideshow. We're very available and we'll answer any questions you have and help you get stuff figured out and fix things if stuff gets broken. So then trivia night code is students. So anyone who's playing trivia night, use that code. And then I think we're announcing a winner at the end of the conference, right?